what it means to be an American. America is freedom, and freedom is special and rare.
We, the people of this great nation.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
We, the people.
We, the people
of this great nation.
of this great nation.
Well, how are all my Americans feeling out there? I hope you guys are feeling as good and as confident as I am about this year's election. I think Trump has it in the bag, especially after this weekend. I mean, I have to congratulate our Navy Six SEALs for saving an American hostage in West Africa. Amazing, no casualties, only on the bad side. And this is why America's so great. And this is why Donald Trump is such a great president. It's a very good day for America and a very good day for the president. That being said, very interesting seeing the crowds in Beverly Hills bombarding the crap out of the streets of Beverly Hills. Woo, is there a red wave? Then we got expressways and different highways being blocked off by Trump supporters in cars, not blocked off, protesting or rioting, celebrating. It's a big difference. The left does it different. The left protests, riots, loots, those rocks. We celebrate America. That's what's different from us and them. Not that all Democrats are like that. I don't want to sound like I'm completely biased, but I am a little bit biased. Anyways, it's been quite an interesting weekend seeing the news and seeing the difference, seeing how active Donald Trump is. While Joe Biden goes 30 minutes away from his house to do some sort of little press conference, I guess, or a little speech with like 10 people, Donald Trump is traveling all over the United States, 5 rallies daily, Saturday and Sunday. This guy is amazing. 3 weeks ago, he had COVID-19. He is like a Superman. The ironic part is I'm looking on Facebook and I guess people are starting to realize that the Trump wave is a lot bigger than what they expected. And now people are like, look at what the Trump supporters did to Joe Biden's van, how violent they were. There's a bunch of Trump supporters in their cars that were just honking their horns with Trump flags on a Biden bus. Not a big deal. There was no violence involved. It wasn't a big deal. They were trying to show Joe Biden, listen, we don't support you. That's very common. They used to do it all the time to Donald Trump. So, I mean, it wasn't on a bus, but it was always outside, riots, burning of flags, right outside the convention in 2016. People were burning the American flag, calling Donald Trump what is it?
Racist.
But he's not. And African Americans are waking up, and so is Hispanics. He's definitely leading in Miami, kind of like I predicted. I'm going to give you a small little prediction of what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. He's going to flip Minnesota. He's going to take Pennsylvania. He's going to take North Carolina, Iowa, Wisconsin, Ohio, Florida. He's going to flip Miami-Dade County. He will not take Broward County. But for the most part, he is going to win by a landslide on electoral college votes. By a landslide. I have never, and I've seen videos and I've tried to find things to see if there's any other president that had the momentum that this man has. I think we're living history right now. This is history in the making. We will never see a president like this ever again. Ever again. This guy loves his country. This is a real president, a strong president, a president that will hold China accountable. Now, I see on Facebook, people calling everybody who supports Trump dumb. Then that means a lot of people are dumb. It's always funny to me how I see how people seem to accuse Trump supporters or make assumptions that Trump supporters are dumb because they support Trump without even having facts to back it up, which is so sad. It's so sad because the dumb ones are really them. They're literally supporting an idiot. I mean, you have to be the dumbest person on this planet to vote against your own interests. Who does that against your own country's interests, against your own family's interest? Just because you don't like a president, you're going to vote against yourself? Wow, that's bright. That's very smart. So Joe Biden is going to stop the pandemic on the spot. And Joe Biden is going to stop the chaos. That is why all businesses are boarding up right now and getting ready for what's going to happen after the election. Not because they're worried about Trump supporters, because they're worried about Biden supporters when Biden loses the election. That is what they're worried about. Now let's go down memory lane. Let's see why. Let's see the great things that Joe Biden has said throughout his campaigning, throughout his career, so you guys can have a recap of why and feel more confident on why you shouldn't vote for this guy.
Are you going to apologize like Cory Booker
Apologize for what?
Cory Booker's called for it.
Cory should apologize. He knows better. There's not a racist bone in my body. I've been involved in civil rights my whole career.
Liar.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking.
The world is different. There's too much unfinished business for us to just look backwards. We have to look to the future.
I know Joe. We know Joe.
Yeah, we know
But
him.
most importantly, Joe knows us.
That's right.
And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Sounds like a pedophile.
Even call centers, which rushed overseas in the hundreds of thousands. How many times you get the call? I'd like to talk to you about your credit card. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. They're going to put you all back in chains.
In my opinion, we don't need white people leading the Democratic Party right now. The Democratic Party is diverse, and it should be reflected as so in our leadership.
But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Why does this happen? I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this, Chuck, I'm not going to do this because let me just be really clear. Vice President Biden absolutely has a respect level for all people around him, for voters across this country, young people, older voters, voters of color, black people, Latino voters, indigenous, Asian American, Pacific Islander. So I'm not going to even traffic in any hypothetical conversation about if he is sensitive enough.
In my opinion, we don't need white people leading the Democratic Party right now.
But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
I think Joe Biden might be suffering from that same white entitlement and privilege and ego, where he's just that old school white male who feels like, hey, man, they need me, I don't need them, or I got them already.
Joe Biden is under fire this evening on comments he made about working alongside segregationist senators in the past.
Biden recalling his early Senate career, bringing up two segregationist senators, Herman Talmadge and James Eastland, who called African Americans an inferior race. I was in a caucus with James O. Eastland, Biden said. He never called me boy, he always called me son. At least there was some civility. We got things done. We didn't agree on much of anything. We got things done.
I think the two-party system, although my Democratic colleagues don't like me saying this, I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro, good for the black in the South. Other than the fact that they still call me boy, I think they've changed their mind a little bit.
It's that old school white male.
Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
Do you feel homeless in today's American political world? Not really into either candidate or party? Guess what? You're not alone. Join me and others just like you across this great country for a discussion of politics from a viewpoint that you can't find in today's media. The Middle. I'm your host, Brian Grosier, and I invite you to join in on the discussion by downloading and listening to the Middle American Podcast.
Pretty sad, huh? Good old Joe Biden. That's what we can expect from a Joe Biden presidency. You think that man has changed? Do you think in any which way he's changed?
They're going to put you all back in chains.
30 seconds or less. What kind of a chance would a northeastern liberal like Joe Biden stand in the South if you were running in Democratic primaries against Southerners like Mark Warner and John Edwards?
Better than anybody else. And you don't know my state. My state was a slave state. My state is a border state. My state is the 8th largest black population in the country. My state is anything from a northeast liberal state.
It's that old school white male.
Choosing Joe to be my vice president was one of the best decisions I ever made.
Not the first sort of mainstream African American who was articulate and bright and clean and a nice looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
My son is Attorney General a year in Iraq, came back, and that's one of the things that he finds was most in need. When he was over there in Iraq for a year, people would come to him and talk about what was happening to them at home in terms of foreclosures, in terms of bad loans that were these Shylocks who took advantage of these women and men.
Back from Mumbai to go meet with President Xi in China. I stopped in Singapore to meet with a guy named Lee Kuan Yew, who most foreign policy experts around the world say is the wisest man in the Orient.
There's not a racist bone in my body. But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Yeah, he's not racist. No, he's not racist at all. But yet they ask Trump that question every single time. Kind of strange, right? It's very interesting when you see the difference, how the media completely, and that was just me showing you just a little bit of what the stuff that he said. I mean, he said much worse than that. He called that he didn't want to send his kids to a racial jungle. This guy's actions with mass incarceration bills. I mean, he's done more than one. He's been involved in more than one at least. Yeah, and most of the people around him have always said he's probably the dumbest person on the planet. I mean, like one of the dumbest people in government. I mean, that's pretty sad. Even Obama took forever to endorse him, as well as not just to endorse him. He actually suggested, Joe, don't run for president. Because they knew the baggage he had. They knew that this guy wasn't fit to be president. He wasn't fit to be president 2 times before this that he tried to be president. And he's going to lose, and he's going to lose badly. He actually said today, he said a comment, a reporter asked him a question, and then he said, I'm not going to let Trump cheat this election. No, my friend, the one that's trying to cheat the election are the Democrats with this mail-in ballot bullshit that they come up with. This lockdown that you guys have that'll be open November 4th as soon as the elections are over. I mean, I cannot wait. I mean, 2016 was amazing, seeing those videos of all those people crying when Hillary lost. It's going to be so much worse this time around. Because, I mean, he's got so many people backing him up. Trump is literally fighting big tech. He's fighting big corporations, Wall Street. He's fighting everyone, the Hollywood elites, every single person. And none of those people have American interests at heart, which is the sad part. That is the sad part, because the reality is we're censored. Republicans don't make a lot of money when it comes to, for example, what I'm doing, podcasting. We're not the most listened to. We're not the most supported. If I would have had something called the Democratic Nation, the Democratic whatever, any podcast like that, I bet you it'd be one of the top listed podcasts, and I would have people donating money. You know why? Because they hate Republicans. And the sad part is that it shouldn't be like that, but it is. And unfortunately, they'll invest, and these rich people will put money in anyone that they see can benefit them in the long run. And unfortunately, that's how it is. All these platforms are ran by liberals. I mean, I'm constantly on Twitch debating people, and yet I get banned off of Twitch simply because I put a video of police officers being brutally attacked, and I was kind of like saying, you know, Blue Lives Matter. And apparently that didn't fit their narrative. They didn't like the fact that that I believe that blue lives equally matter to every other life, just like I believe Black Lives Matter. I just don't believe the organization itself matters, but I do believe Black individuals do matter. And I get disgusted when I see police officers commit brutality against Black Americans. But that doesn't mean I have to support the movement. I don't believe in the movement. I know the movement's a Marxist movement, and I'm not for that. So it's something I can't possibly support. But that being said, it just shows you. I mean, that was just a little itty bitty part of what Joe Biden's all about. That is what Joe Biden's all about. And I mean, if you guys had any doubts in your mind, whether, I hope that those clips at least show you what a retard that guy is. I'm sorry, bad word to use. Oof, what a dumbass that guy is. Okay? He is the worst candidate to be running for president. And that's the Democrats' top choice. That was their choice. It was between Joe Biden, Pocahontas, Bernie Sanders. I mean, these people had no options whatsoever. Amy Klobuchar, who's, I mean, after seeing her even seeing more of her at the Senate Judiciary Committee when they were deciding on the Supreme Court justice, it was just disgusting to see the questions that she was asking, the path that her and her mother used to take, and this and that. Their bullshit stories, their political correctness, their feeling of superiority. You know, they think they're above us. They think they're better than us. Michelle Obama said it best: when they go low, we go high. Come on, that is so much fucking bullshit. That is so much bullshit. We've always been the ones that go high. We stay quiet. We don't riot. We don't protest. We don't do anything. We stay quiet and we go to the voting polls and we make our decisions there at the voting poll. We really are a silent majority. We don't get violent. We don't get crazy. We don't cause destruction. We don't attack candidates. Some people do. I mean, there's people that get there and they'll start bashing Obama and they'll start bashing this and but for the most part, I mean, we've seen the last 3.5 years of what's gone on. It's been constant attack on this president, even from Congress people. I mean, the disrespect that I've never seen on any other president. I mean, it's just disgusting. And I honestly hope, which I don't think it's going to happen, I hope Maxine Waters loses her position. I hope we take back the House so we can put Nancy Pelosi back in her place as the minority leader, if they even give her that spot. And I hope we keep the Senate, which I think it's going to be pretty tight, but I think that we'll get through it. I think overall, I think that the red wave is going to vote red all the way. And I think that most Democratic areas, you're just not going to be able to, it's going to be hard to flip some of these Democratic areas. But I think the girl from, I forget her name, forget her last name, but from Baltimore, I think she's got a strong message for Black Americans. I think she really cares about her community, and I think that she could do a lot of good for her community. She might have a very solid chance of winning. The gentleman, James, that's running for senator in Michigan, I think he stands a very good chance, very good background, military background, businessman, smart individual. Nobody even knows who the hell the senator of Michigan is. Like, nobody even knows that guy. I mean, to be honest with you, when I saw them head to head, I've never even seen that guy's face. I mean, I'm surprised that guy's been around for so long. I've never seen that guy speak. I didn't even know he was a senator. If they would have shown him to me in a picture and asked me who he was, I would have been like, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know who he is. So I don't know how he can even be popular in Michigan, but apparently he is. But I think he might lose his spot. I think people are waking up. I think the Black community is waking up. I think they're finally realizing that the Democrats do nothing for them. The best response was given by Ice Cube. This man literally, he said, I reached out to both campaigns on the platinum deal, which I think is awesome that the Black community is trying to work out a deal where it helps the Black community, because I do think the Black community can use help. It's obvious, they can use help and they need opportunity, equal opportunity. And it was amazing to see how Ice Cube said, listen, I reached out to both camps. One camp told me, let's see after elections. We'll wait until after the elections. The other camp quickly got on there with me and started talking to me and working with me. The camp that started working with him was Donald Trump's. So that just shows you. And then Lil Wayne went and met with Donald Trump, said he had a great meeting with him, endorsed him. More rappers are coming out and endorsing Donald Trump because they're seeing, one, they're rich, so they don't want to get these massive taxes. I mean, nobody wants to be taxed. And just for those people out there that don't know, when the rich get taxed, so do the poor, so do the middle class. Everybody gets taxed. Everybody falls on different brackets. So when they talk about a tax raise, they're talking about every single person in the U.S. So whenever they start telling you, oh no, we're only going to tax people for this certain amount of money, believe me, you're all going to get taxed. Everybody's going to get taxed. And regulations affect us all. When they start adding regulations, companies start falling, small businesses start falling apart, people start losing their jobs, and the economy goes into a black hole that will, we could just look through history and see, and then it's funny to see Obama talk as if he's had such a great, he said, this is going to be the only president that's gone into office that had more jobs than he has now. Yeah, he's also one of the only presidents in 100 years that has had a pandemic hit him that was a deadly pandemic that was released by China and still managed to have a faster recovery than a faster and bigger and better recovery than Obama did in his 8 years. So yeah, I think he's doing a pretty good job, Obama. I think you should keep your mouth shut, and I think you should keep the Cuban word out of your mouth, because Cubans don't like you. They didn't like the fact you sat there with Raul Castro, literally the brother of Fidel Castro, who single-handedly destroyed the island of Cuba, and that's why all Cubans ended up migrating over here to the United States. So yeah, you were watching a baseball game with him, having a good time with your wife, while Belgium was getting bombed by terrorists. So you are not one to talk. Do not try to relate to Cubans like you can get any Cuban vote, because you're not getting any Cuban vote. That's for fucking sure. So it's just, I find it so amusing, because these people, I deal with this every single day, because I'm very open-minded, I'm very outspoken. So I'll post on Facebook what I feel, I'll post what I think, and then I see my liberal friends attack, and they attack without fact. Like, they're just attacking based on emotion. Oh, but Donald Trump, he's not compassionate, and I see them repeating like the things that CNN says, and I don't give a fuck. And I tell them, listen, I'm not trying to vote for somebody who has compassion. I'm not trying to vote for somebody presidential. I'm trying to vote for somebody with action. I asked a man one time, what did Obama give you guys? And he was a black American, and he goes to me, well, you know what? He gave us hope. And I go, what the fuck is hope? What does hope get you? Results get you something, but what does hope do? What did Trump do what did Obama do for the black community? He could have done prison reform. Joe Biden's response was, well, we had a house. The house the Senate was against us, so it was very difficult. Yeah, Donald Trump's in the same position, but he still managed to do it. He still managed to do prison reform. Yeah, you didn't do it because you participated in creating that mass incarceration. And Donald Trump just fixed the errors you made decades ago. So you're not one to talk. So, again, a vote for Joe Biden is a vote against yourself. That's been my opinion. He blabs out the truth every once in a while, and those are the moments you have to catch him. Like, for example, when a person starts becoming senile, you start seeing little sides of them that come out. You know, like, the other day he was there and he was angry. When he was talking on the microphone with his Ray-Bans on, he was angry. That's usually signs of dementia or Alzheimer's. They go through mood swings. They get very angry. And if you notice, a lot of what he thinks inside comes out. Like that comment that he said to the radio host, oh, if you don't vote for Joe Biden, then you ain't black. Those little things that like he feels entitled, like the black vote is his. Like he controls the black community. You if you're black, you need to stick with the Democratic Party, the party of the Ku Klux Klan, the party the party that literally developed Planned Parenthood, and the lady that created Planned Parenthood was part of a group called the Women of the Ku Klux Klan, a woman that was literally dedicated her life to trying to exterminate or get rid of the black community. let's not forget, we talk about this pandemic and 215,000 people dying. Every year, 400,000 black babies are aborted. 400,000 lives that could have done something for this country or for themselves. 400,000 beautiful lives that could have been blossoming right now. You know, it's incredible to me how people don't see the bigger picture. And you know what? The fact that another thing that I found interesting was off subject was the Girl Scouts. The Girl Scouts are a bunch of cowards. The people that represented, they got attacked because they were celebrating the 5th woman to be a Supreme Court justice. They got backlash for it, and then they removed the post. Ridiculous. Simply ridiculous and pathetic that they would actually remove a post like that was celebrating all the female Supreme Court justices. But I guess since she leans more towards the right and she's a conservative, we can't celebrate her. We can't celebrate her. You know what? Trump said some motivational stuff today that I'm looking forward to, and I hope he accomplishes it during his presidency. The first woman to land in Mars. He mentioned it today, which is something that a lot of people don't talk about. The division that he created, the Space Force, which is pretty cool. And I would think a lot of the science community would be on board with him since he's investing into space travel, into all that stuff, which is an amazing thing because it's the next frontier. You know, I mean, it's our next journey and our next venture in the future. I'm not going to live to see it, but we're going to discover a lot of things throughout time. It's crazy times. The elections are right around the corner, literally 2 days and counting. I'm going crazy. I'm losing sleep over this because I'm not going to lie to you. Part of me does get worried that Donald Trump might lose or somehow they rigged this election. But I would say an 85% of myself says he's got this in the bag. When I look at the momentum, when I look at the people, the crowds, it's very difficult, I mean, to think that there's any which way. And he's already ahead in mail-in ballots, which he's more ahead than what he's supposed to be without people actually voting in person, which is somewhat dangerous grounds for. And I see the Democrats acting a little bit crazy, worrying about Miami, worrying about specific cities, and I think they see that that Trump's got the momentum, and I think they see the presidency going in Trump's hands. So that's what I've got to say about that. Okay. Anyways, guys, if you ever want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me on Facebook, A Republican Podcast. You can reach out to me, The Republican Nation, on Instagram. You can reach out to me on Twitter, Republican Nation N2. I couldn't get The Republican Nation. And you can reach out to me on YouTube, The Republican Nation, twitch.tv/The Republican Nation if you want to see me stream live. I stream Monday through Friday, usually from 12 p.m. to about 3 p.m. And I stream live, I debate, I talk to people, mainly liberals. I have a few Republicans there, but mainly liberals. But if you guys ever want to stop by and check it out, let me know. I'm very grateful for all the listeners that I have out there. You guys are helping me out a lot. I really appreciate it. This is a very, very difficult thing that I'm doing here. I've been pushing this platform for quite some time now. I've been doing this for a long time. And it's hard to get ahead in this. I'm not going to lie. It's a difficult task. It's not nothing simple. I started off real small. I started off out of my house and just rolling with the best equipment I could get at the time because I didn't really know much about this. Now I've got an actual studio and I'm expanding. As of tomorrow, I'm expanding my studio. And it's all thanks to all the support I'm getting from you guys. And I greatly appreciate it. Guys, stay safe out there. I hope you all enjoyed your Halloween. Our block was pumping. Everybody was outside. It seems like people were tired of the staying inside the house with COVID-19. It felt like a regular Halloween yesterday. It was awesome. My kids enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. And I dressed as a wiener. I really wanted to dress as something else representing Biden, but unfortunately there's kids, so I couldn't do it. But anyways, guys, you have yourselves a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you very much.
We will make America great again.